Hello, my beautiful cuddlebugs. Welcome to Ramblings of a Book Dragon, where we dive into the warmth of good books and unravel stories that feel like a literary hug. I'm Allie, your host, and I'm thrilled to embark on another cozy adventure with you. So grab a cup of your favorite beverage, snuggle into your cozy reading nook, and let's begin. But before we do, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe so that you won't miss a single episode. I really value your feedback and recommendations. Now let's begin. Today I'm reviewing The Raven Scholar, written by Antonia Hodgson and performed by Daphne Kuma. And let me just say from the get-go, this woman, she is on my list because my flappers were gasted, my flummoxes were amoked. This was just such a good book. Oh my god. I have been just all over the place with this book because it was just so good. But she's also on my list because I'm mad at her. Mad at her in a good way because it is the first book in a trilogy and we don't know when the next book is coming out, or I haven't seen anything about when the next book is coming out. And there's just so much that's going on in this book. There's so many massive spoilers. I'm gonna do my best to not reveal them. It's part murder mystery, part palace intrigue. There's also a lot of stuff going on in the book regarding what is it called? What am I trying to think of? There's a lot going on in this book. I'm just gonna say it. But she did. Oh my gosh. This is the kind of book that I've been wanting to read for a while, where it just sucks you in and there is a tiny bit of predictability, and you kind of see what is going to happen in a way, but then the things that she does, especially near the end, that are the twists and the turns and the big reveals, and it's not just a big reveal, it's big reveal after big reveal after big reveal, and it's like, woman, what are you doing to us? What are you going to continue to do to us? Like, just so good. I gave it 5 out of 5. 5 out of 5. But yeah, it's just so good. But then I'm also mad at her because she made us fall in love. Well, at least made me. And according to Reddit, other people are feeling the same way as me. Because in the first 4 chapters of the book, we follow this young woman named Yana Valet, and she is 16 years old at the beginning. Her father is Andren Valet and her mother is Yazilla, and basically every 26 years now we have a king in Oran, but every 26 years there are these series of trials that are held in order to determine who the next ruler of Oran is. And Andren, at the time, he fought in the trials and lost. And I also really liked the trials. But then he decided to be a loser who did not appreciate being a loser. And he decided to stage a coup. A coup, y'all, as they say. And he lost the coup. I say that, but he lost the coup, and because of that, Burson, the winner, he's a bear warrior. He basically just destroyed the family, Yazilla, her twins and daughter, but he was generous in the fact that he just stripped them of their titles, stripped them of their money, and just sent them to live with the commoners. But because of the fact that they are Yastala's descendants, and Yastala was one of the great queens of the time, and she had basically made this deal essentially where she had stopped one of the great times from happening, where because the Raven showed her what was going to happen if Yastala had continued to do things the way she was doing, and so she changed her ways, but she cursed this knife, saying that if this knife was used to kill anyone, then the 8 would return and destroy the world. And the 8 are the guardians. They are the bear, the fox, the hound, raven, bear. Let me do it in order: bear, tiger, monkey, hound, raven, ox, fox, and dragon. And these are the these are the 8 protectors of Oran, and they saved the world 7 times, and if they come back an 8th time, they were going to destroy the world. So that is the fear, and some people think it's hogwash. Some people don't believe in the 8 guardians, but there are 8 temples devoted to the worship of the guardians, and it's also where people learn things, and also basically where it is a little bit of that whole usual typical thing where like the fox is known to be cunning and capricious, and they do things their own way, and the ravens are the scholars, they are the lawyers, they ask a lot of questions. Like there's a little bit of that, but it didn't feel as shoved into down your throat like some other books have done, where it's everyone is like this. No, you have to volunteer yourself to join these sacred orders, and you join them, you get trained. If you survive, you get through, and you also have to even make it in the first place. You have to be approved to join. So plenty of people are not in these groups. There are plenty of people that do regular schmegular things. Not everyone has to do this, which is a nice change of pace compared to some other books. But anyway, so Andren, he was of the tiger contention, and he was a tiger warrior, and he did not appreciate being a loser, and because he staged a coup, his family was punished severely. And on the twins, Yana and Rugo's 16th birthday, Burson summoned them to court, and he said, okay, so the tiger matron, priestess, she has this letter saying that your father, Andren, really wanted Yana to join the tigers and represent them. Like, join the tigers, learn, potentially become a ruler in her own right one day. And this pissed Ruko off. And then they're 16, so tensions are running high as being teenagers anyway. But it really, like, especially like throughout this whole bit and the point, I'm like, why are you doing this? Like, I understand playing these mind games with the court intrigue, but like, they're 16. And we get some questions later on, and especially since Ruko's like, why are you doing this? Like, it should be me. I should be the one to do this, not Yana. And then the hound guards are like, what do you mean? Why not her? What's wrong with her? And this is like the wrong thing to do, because the hounds have hound sight, and they can like break your mind and everything. Like, they have their own magic powers and stuff. And it turns out that Yana, she had her father's colors, which was this armband from when he fought, and that's a big no-no if you're a traitor. But this all happened when they were 8. So this was 8 years ago that this all happened. And also, Andren told Yana that he was going to do this, that he was going to stage a coup, that he was going to fight against Burson. And people were like, oh my God, she didn't tell anyone. And when I was reading this, I was like, who would believe an 8-year-old? Like, she was 8. She was just listening to her father. And who would she tell? She was 8 years old. And we do get some logic, ironically, from Kane, who was the Fox later, who's part of the Fox group later. But it's like, she was 8. What do you expect an 8-year-old to do? And so originally, Burson was just going to send Yana away to the Grey Order. I forget what it's called, but they're basically just like the lowest of the low. They take care of the unmentionable things. Like, it's not great, but it could have been worse. And Yana was relieved. Like, she was worried that she was going to be exiled. But then Ruko, being a little pissant, he was like, wait, what about me? Can I still be a tiger? A tiger warrior? And Burson's like, no, you can't be a tiger warrior if I'm sending Yazilla, Yana, I mean, to this gray thing. Like, I can't punish your sister and also promote you. What would people think? So he tells Ruko, like, make your decision whatever your decision is, I will do this. Like, I will give you a taste of power. And I'm thinking, like, what in the actual hell bells is going on here? Like, what is happening? Why is this happening? Like, alarm bells are going off in my head. We learn why later, and it pisses me off later, but we learn it, and it just becomes worse and worse and worse as we learn the realities of what's going on in this damn book, which is why the author is on my list. Like, breathe. So Ruko is sitting on the throne, and he's like, okay, if I'm going to become a tiger warrior, I need to exile Yana. So I'm going to exile my sister, my twin, which, trigger warning, is not just a simple, easy peasy, you're just going to go away and never return type of thing. No. This part is what really just, horrible. So they go to they will send an order to the Ravens to write an order of exile. And they need someone who has the best penmanship. Of course, they need someone who has the best writing to write the order of exile. And the writing is then stitched into the person's chest. poor sweet baby Anna. But it's stitched in, but the order of exile is stitched into her chest and then over her heart, and then she is paraded down all over the country through all these there is a route that people take to this forest, this diseased forest. There's a specific name for the forest, and I don't remember the name of it, unfortunately. I didn't write it down, and I didn't feel like looking it up. But you're sent through, and you're supposed to tell everyone what you did. Like, you're a traitor, why you're a traitor, what you did, all of that. And then you're basically just sent into to this poison forest, and then you die. And it's a slow, painful, horrific death sentence. And throughout the entire book, I was hoping and waiting and praying with bated breath, even though I am not a religious person. I was hoping that we were going to have a Due Machina, however you pronounce it, where Yana was going to miraculously come back. And we even have a little bit of a thing there where they were just like, Yana, is she really still here? Is she really still alive? Moment in the trials. And it was just like, is she still alive? Is she? Because why would you do this to us, Miss Ma'am? Write 4 chapters, making us fall in love with this sweet baby girl, and then kill her off. Rude. Very disrespectful. And like, I even had forgotten that it's Nima who's the main character of this book, because for the first 4 chapters, it's all about Yana and her family and all this crap that they've been through because of her stupid father. But yeah. But it's not Yana. I mean, Yana is the trigger for everything that's about to happen, Yana's death. But I and other people on Reddit who I've been looking, because I wanted to look to see, okay, is Yana still alive? Is Yana still alive? And according to other people on Reddit, there are hopes. We're all in a state of delulu. We're all in a state of delusion where we are hoping that there will be some sort of reveal later where Yana is still alive. I know. There are still beliefs that Yana is dead. They are still saying she's dead. But let us be in a state of delusion, please. Let us keep our delusions that sweet baby Yana is still alive somehow, some way, and she is going to make an amazing comeback, and she's going to be a badass motherfucker and is going to take down the people who wronged her, or the people who are revenging her are going to avenge her. That is plan Q. But I'm hoping for Yana. Otherwise, may she rest in peace if she is dead, and may her soul have gone on the great path. Is that what it's called in the book? There's a lot of mythology and a lot of mythos in the book, which I really appreciated, where it's a lot of mysticism and a lot of mythology, and I ate that up. So, but anyway, and that's not even the main point of the book, these first 4 chapters, and yet it ripped me apart. And for the rest of the book, I was like, is Yana coming back? Is Yana coming back? Is Yana coming back? Nope, at least not in book 1. I can safely spoil that for you. And it made me mad. But her death is the trigger point for not everything, but there are some things that happen later on that are avenge plots that are happening to punish others because of what happened to Yana. And that just, I mean, I felt sorry for Nima because she was giving the order, and if it wasn't her, someone else would have written that. It's not like they would have just said, oh, well, she didn't write it. Oh, well, too bad. Like, I see the point of if it, like, it's not, it was pleasant to see that there are, like, yes, Nima was elevated because she wrote this Order of Exile, and she was also doing all these studies, and because of all of this, she was elevated so highly, and people were like, you did this on the back of a dead girl on this Order of Exile, and everyone knows it, and no one likes her. I mean, no one really liked Nima before this anyway, but that just really elevated that disgust of, you wrote this. But it's also kind of like, any Raven scholar, anyone who was a Raven at that time could have received that order. Anyone. And if she ran away, anyone else would have taken that. I mean, they might have still had their issues with the request because it was a 16-year-old girl who was innocent. And everyone knew it. Everyone knew that this was bullshit. But what can you do against the king? You can't. You can't. You can't. And so it's just like, but it's just the fact that it was Nima that got this, and she wrote it, and it was stitched onto her skin, and she was paraded around, and then she died. But I am still in my delusions that somehow, some way, like, I don't even like Due Machina stuff, but for Yana, I will accept it. Because we've had some crazy shit happening in this book where things happen where just like, are you for real? Are you for real? So if those other for reals can happen, we can make it happen for Yana. Surely we can make it happen for Yana. I'm just saying. Surely we can have our revenge. We can punish, but we can also bring her back and continue the revenge, because we support women's rights and we support women's wrongs, and we appreciate the fact that the characters in this book are so complex. Like, they are battling these issues. Like, it's just so much happening in this book, and there's so many things that you want to talk about, that I want to talk about, but I can't because it's a major spoiler if you haven't read the book. This is so good. But on to the actual plot. That's just the first 4 chapters, and we're not even at the actual frickin' plot of the book yet. So Ruko becomes a tiger contingent, and Nima is a Raven who is elevated to basically become Burson's right-hand woman. She is doing everything. She's fantabulous. She is wonderful. And then we get to the trials, and the trials are set by each of the 8 groups. And it's mainly 7 because the dragons, they're basically the very last one, because the dragons, they're just rude. I don't like them, but they're there in case the other 7 trials end in, like, if it's equal enough for 3 ties, that's when the dragon contingent happens with their stuff. But it's supposed to be 7, and it's supposed to be the person that wins the most points. And it's not just fighting, which is nice, but it's also each group has their own trial on top of the fighting. And it's like like the Raven trial, like, it's typical stuff that you would expect. Like, the Raven trial is a test about the history of the country and history of politics and everything. And then the Ox trial, but it's also like layers. So it's showing, like, and that's what I really liked about with Nima. is because Gaida is Nima's rival as a raven, and Gaida is the one who is supposed to be the raven contingent. And this is one of those things that was predictable, and that I appreciated that slight level of predictability here. Gaida is the one who's dead. She dies, and Nima is the one who's suspected as the one who killed her because they don't like each other. I mean, Nima doesn't like Gaida, and everyone's like, how could Gaida die? She's the best, blah, 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 blah. And we're just kind of like, okay, what happened? And so Nima's like, okay, I did not do this, but I also have no memory of what happened last night. So I cannot disprove myself from doing this because she was spiked with dragon scale oil, and dragon scale oil is basically like this drug that makes you see things, and like it takes away your control, and she almost died. And that is one of the levels of punishment that we see in the book, which I see why they punished Nima because she wrote it, but it's like any raven could have done. I see why they punished her, but at the same time, any raven would have written this, could have written this. So it's kind of like she's receiving stray. So I see why she was punished for writing it, but at the same time, it's like any raven would have done it. So it's like it's kind of like catching strays, as the saying goes. I don't know. But also it's like, okay, but she did write it. So yeah. But it's like, what can you do? What can you do? What can you do? Like, I don't know. But Gaida dies, and Nima has no remembrance of what happened the previous night because she was doused in dragon scale oil, quote, by accident. That's a whole other thing that's happening because she has a new personal maid, and the new personal maid is from this one area that comes into play later and is very important, but I'm not going to explain more details on it because I don't want to do any big grand reveals in this podcast other than the reveal that I've already done. Trying my best to not do too much big revealing of the big reveals because it's just so good. It is so delicious, the big reveals, and it's like, oof, my flabbers were gasted, and it's a good thing that I was home when I was listening to some of these bits because I started cursing my phone at some of these points where it's just like, are you for freaking real? Like, I think I would have been seen as an insane person if I was out in public or at work or anything like that and listening to the audiobook. But anyway, so the trials are set to begin, and what I absolutely adored about this book is the playful factor. Like, yes, we have the seriousness of all of this, like saying the wrong thing at the wrong time will get you killed. We've seen this happen plenty of times in this book, where saying the wrong thing at the wrong time will get you killed later on, and you have no idea that it's coming. But the narrator is the raven. I loved it. And I loved the way that the raven breaks the fourth wall to us, the audience, and bringing us in. Like, we are the raven, and we are magnificent, as we say. And we are, like, especially after what was going on and with poor sweet baby Yana, and then going to Nima, and we're flying, and we're seeing everything in the capital in like 3 minutes. We'll make it. We have time. And we fly there, and we get there, and it's like, oh my God, that just was so cool when that happened. Like, excuse me. And that just was just so fun. I loved that playfulness, and the fact that, yes, we have all this seriousness, we have all this craziness happening, but then we have the raven, and the raven is just being such a raven. And love that, where it was like talking about being in the flock and talking about loving pretty shiny things. And it's just, and especially with Soul, the solitary raven, he's called Soul, and because Nima, she at first accepts the raven inside of her because the raven was wanting her to kill Cain in order to stop this bad thing from happening. But she winds up sending him away, and it's like, oh, you sent me away. Well, I'm done with you. I'm not going to help you at all ever again. I'm going to watch you as you die. So bye. But Soul, he's a solitary raven. He's like, okay, well, you were going to die anyway because you accepted the raven as all of itself, as all the ravens inside you. That would have killed you anyway. So having just a speck of the raven, a portion of the raven inside her. Yeah, I really liked the way that there was that playful aspect, and there we did have a sense of humor. There were things that we had a sense of humor to break up the what the fuck is happening in this book moments, like things that are happening. Like I really appreciated that, and that it was mainly from the raven, because we are magnificent, we are lovely, we are amazing, and we have great feathers. That just and we have a great plan, and we do not want to be killed by fire by an angry dragon, because there are other birds raven, as the dragon says, and we don't want to die. But I thought that that was really interesting. And I like the fact that even the guardians are infallible. Like, yes, the dragon had this vision of things happening, but it didn't have the full, complete picture. And so even later on, when Nima makes it to the dragon, and I really like the fact that Nima, even when she accepts the raven, she is not 100% invincible. She is not infallible. She uses her brain. She uses her mind. Like, there's this moment with the Ox contingent where they're saying, okay, be helpful, be useful, but then they also have they have these things that people thought were supposed to happen. But then Nima sees, oh, the leader of the Ox group, he has all this paperwork, and she knows he hates paperwork. So she decides to make herself useful by going to him. So she uses her brain. And I love that throughout the trials. Like, yes, there is fighting, there is hand-to-hand combat, there is the use of weapons, and there is a little bit of magic helping, especially since the raven had been in her dreams, kind of helping her learn these weapons in her dreams. So she kind of learned how to do it by dreams. So that kind of surprised someone else that was going to try to kill her from the bear group. So there was a little bit of some of that stuff, but so there was a little bit of extra help. So, but it still wasn't like, oh my God, she is amazing because she accepted the raven. She still had she was still like human, which I really liked. And she used her mind more to help her get through the trials, which I thought was really genius. But yeah, it's just so much that's happening in this book. I did like it's so hard to talk about everything that was going on, but I did really appreciate how the trials were interesting and unique, and that it wasn't just each person is this one specific way, but everyone is in these groups, like in some books. But yeah, it was just very, 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 very well done. And then, of course, we have to have a coup, of course. But yeah, the ending of the book was just, it's like, why must we wait for the next book to come out, woman? But that's all I'm going to talk about. I'm just going to remain in the state of delusion. But yeah, I really liked, at first it's like, why are we now focusing on Nima? But yeah, I really liked how with Nima and Cain, that was the other thing I absolutely loved with Cain, was the fact that he, like, with so many love interests, they're all dark and brooding and mysterious, blah 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 blah. No, Cain is just, he is the epitome of the class clown. He is the fox, after all. He is playful, he's mischievous, he is sassy, and I love that. They were just so like opposite each other. They really helped bring out each other's best parts. So I really appreciated that fact that we had those moments together with Cain, and the fact that they did have their moment of being able to say, yes, I love you. And they were able to kind of figure things out again and just have those conversations. So I will catch you beautiful cuddlebugs next time. And now we're finally getting back into cozy season again. We're finally starting to cool down now. So let's enjoy the beginnings of cozy season and enjoy a nice cozy beverage. If you have any recommendations of books you would like for me to read, please let me know. I hope this wasn't too chaotic, but I will catch you beautiful cuddlebugs next time. Take care. Bye.